Moving along, let's talk some One Championship for a bit. So first bit of One Championship news. I haven't talked about this yet. I think I made a video on it, but Stamp Fairtex coming to the USA. So One Championship is making their debut, the US debut, on Friday, May 10th in Denver, Colorado. Or it's like in a suburb of Denver. And who has tickets to the bout? This guy. That's right, I'm going. I already got my vacation scheduled. I'm going to be watching this one live. Going to watch the Stamp Dance come to the U.S. live in the arena. She's taking on Elise Anderson. The number one fighter taking on an unranked fighter. Now, granted, One Championship's rankings only go down to 5. And Anderson is coming in off of a win, which helps. But a lot of people are not too excited about this bout. They see it as an easy win for Stamp. Now, from a promoter's perspective, I get it. The fight's in the U.S. And Anderson is the only, well, she's not the only, but she's one of very few American women in One Championship. The only other one I can think of right now off the top of my head is Angela Lee. And we'll get to that in a minute. We'll talk about Lee in a minute. So if you want to really promote Stamp in the U.S., have her fight an American. Because listen, there are fans out there. There are people that will come to the show or watch the show. They don't know Anderson. They don't know Stamp. But they're going to see Anderson's American. And they're going to see the foreign fighter possibly beat the American. And Stamp's going to come out and she's going to dance her way into the arena. Probably might even dance between rounds and after the fight. And beats the American fighter. People are going to like that. It's going to be fun. I'm not a big fan of the Stamp dance. I think it's kind of cringy. But I guess I'm in the minority on that. So I am excited to see Stamp fight in the U.S. This will be my second time watching Elise Anderson fight in person. Now, I bought a ticket. I haven't applied for press credentials. I might try anyway. Although I did that ticket was expensive. But I'm looking forward to this one. I'm not going to lie. I know a lot of people are like, this is a weak matchup, but I like it. I think Anderson can test Stamp on the ground. On the feet, not so much, but definitely on the ground. And also in One Championship news, they have rebooked Sahi Ham versus Itsuki Hirata. I have discussed this one before as well. This is going to go down at One Fight Night or One on Prime Video 8, March 24th. Again, we have a ranked fighter taking on an unranked fighter. So Ham is at number 2, taking on unranked Hirata. And of course, the big discussion surrounding this fight is, will Hirata make weight and will she make hydration? And some people are even saying, in my comments, that One Championship will just fix it so that she makes it this time. I'm not saying that. But hopefully this fight goes through this time. I want to see this fight. I think Ham wins it. I still think Ham wins it. But I do want to see it. I think it should be a fun fight. And I'll be watching it live. Or not in person live, but I'll be watching it on Amazon Prime in the U.S. Colostrum in the chat says, congrats on the bro on a 5K. Well, thank you, Colostrum. And he has Andrade by stoppage. So now we talked about a couple of matchups from One Championship. Let's talk about the state of One's Atomweight division, because this division is kind of in a sad state right now. So you got the top 5 plus the champ. So the champ, we all know what happened with her. Her sister, her younger sister Victoria, is gone, passed away day after Christmas. Really, absolute tragedy. Like, my heart goes out to the Lee family as someone who had to bury their sibling. I know exactly what Angela and Christian are going through. And that's another one of those tragic stories where, a parent should not have to bury their child. That should never have to happen. So, Angela, we have to admit, and even one CEO, Chatri Sityo has discussed, like, he's thought about it, and, he had to admit that we might never see Angela Lee fight again. We honestly might never see her fight again. Who knows? I mean, that's the kind of thing you never really recover from, like a sudden death in the family. Again, take it from me. A family member dies suddenly, someone that close to you, you don't recover from it, especially when it's that sudden like that. And with the rumor swirling around, and if the most common, the most talked about rumor is true, I wouldn't blame Angela if she steps back and doesn't fight again after that. I mean, she's made plenty of money from one championship, and she also comes from a wealthy family. She could easily move on, go to college, join the family real estate business, because apparently that's what the Lees do aside from martial arts. They're in the real estate business. She could move on from her life completely from here. So right now, she's still the champ, but we have no idea what's going to happen with her in the future. So then you look at the top 5. You've got the number 1 fighter fighting someone unranked. You got the number 2 fighter, Ham Sahi, again, fighting someone unranked. These two should be fighting each other right now. You don't know what's going to happen with Angela. You don't know if she's even going to fight again. Make an interim championship, okay? Stamp and Ham should be fighting each other for an interim belt at this point, because Angela hasn't defended her belt since, let me look it up here real quick. I know it was last year in the spring. She defended her title in March of last year at 1X against Stamp. Fought once after that, but up at the 1 strawweight division, 125 pounds. So we're about to hit a year with no title fight in this division. Ham's fighting next month. Stamp's fighting in May. But why aren't they fighting each other? They should be fighting each other for an interim title. And then if Angela decides she's never coming back, then you promote whoever is the champion to full champ status. I mean, look, I'm not a huge Angela Lee fan, but I hope she comes back. But in the meantime, you've got to prepare for the worst. You hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Make an interim title. If Stamp wins against Elise and May, and Ham wins against Hirata next month in March, then that's the fight to make. Make that interim title fight. In the meantime, you have Denise Sambawanga at number 3. She's without an opponent right now. Then at number 4, Aliona Rasohina. She's pregnant. Congrats to her. That'll be your second kid. But she's out for who knows how long. Meanwhile, Rasohina hasn't fought since what, 2021? She hasn't fought since the second Stamp Fairtex fight, and that was in September of 2021. Might be time to remove her from the rankings there. I'm just saying, she hasn't fought since 2021. Coming up on a year and a half, and she's not going to be returning anytime soon. Remove her from the rankings. Promote someone else. Then you got number 5, Tiffany Teo. She just moved into the division. Beat up Ritu Phogat. Destroyed Ritu Phogat. Honestly, demolished her en route to a submission. But she doesn't have a fight lined up right now either. So the division right now really lacks direction. And I don't think One Championship knows what they're doing as far as direction goes. And I could go on and on about that. I mean, right now, they only have one big event per month, and that's the ones that are airing on Prime Video in the US and Canada. And then other than that, they're focused on their weekly Muay Thai fights at Lumpini Stadium in Thailand. And then they're having their one Friday fights, which are before that, also at Lumpini in Thailand. But they're having like the MMA fights on those cards are like 1 or 2 usually. 3 at the absolute most. So those are still very striker heavy bouts. And One Championship, they went from having 2 events a month last year down to 1 big event per month. No numbered events this year and none scheduled anytime coming up. So who knows what One Championship's doing right now. They seem to be in like a really big transition phase. And it seems like they're so focused on those Lumpini events because they're getting guaranteed money from the government to put on those events every week that it almost seems like their big events are almost like an afterthought. Which I don't blame them. They need money. One Championship needs money, and those Lumpini events are guaranteed money. So yeah, One Atomweight right now is in a horrendous shape, unfortunately. And it's sad to see. But we do have Ham versus Hirata and Stamp versus Anderson to look forward to. Chihiro Sawada making her debut tomorrow morning. So look forward to that one. Yeah. So let's go to the chat before we move on.